So, I don't know about y'all, but I personally have not been living under a rock. I do know that Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass released on the PC many years ago, and I do know that it was very well regarded, but I still never played it. That is until now, because it has finally been released on all the consoles from the PS4 and PS5 to the Xbox, and even both the Switch 1 and the 2, along with some new stuff exclusive to this console release. So today I do want to tell you all about the game and all the new stuff that comes along with it, and I definitely do think it's worth the sub as you come and you join a party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your brand new hype. It helps me out a ton. And now without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on in to this Pulsating Mass. First things first, I do want to let you know that I played this on the Nintendo Switch 2, so all the footage that you do see here does come directly from that. Also, this console release isn't just kind of like a straight port of the PC release either. It includes brand new, never before seen levels, enhanced visuals, a redesigned font, an expert difficulty mode, new enemies, and even like a CRT filter if you really want to be thrown back into the 90s. You can tell that this isn't a case of just kind of like ship it again and move on. It feels kind of curated, like the developers actually wanted this here to be the definitive version that people will be playing going forward. I did mess around with that CRT filter briefly. I appreciated that it existed, and then I turned it off immediately because I'm old and I like clarity now. But it's always nice to have the option. Aesthetically and structurally for the game, the influences of it are pretty obvious here. You can definitely see the Earthbound in its tone and presentation and graphics, Final Fantasy V and Jimmy's combat flexibility, he can like transform into monsters and stuff, and even kind of like shades of Breath of Fire, and how you'll be like meeting with different animalistic characters and then using your transformational powers in order to progress the story. The game takes place entirely within the dream of an 8-year-old boy named Jimmy, and it's not all like rainbows and butterflies here. Well, yeah, it is full of whimsy, but it can also be kind of unsettling and emotionally hard-hitting too, especially as you get further and further along into the game and you really do get to see what the Pulsating Mass is really all about. Just like any good JRPG, it starts off with an errand to get some honey for your mother, but then it quickly amps it up a notch whenever aliens come, kidnap your family, and then threaten the stability of the dream world itself. And it is then that the story becomes less about saving the world in like a traditional RPG sense, and more about like navigating fear, imagination, empathy, childhood vulnerability, and bonding with your family. So as you go off to get this honey, things get strange very quickly, though in a way that feels more natural than forced. Jimmy will encounter a slime enemy, then defeat it, and then something kind of fascinating happens. He ends up transforming into that slime. And this here is where it really kind of clicked to me, because Jimmy has the power of empathy. He can feel what other beings feel, imagine himself as them, and then literally become them. Through his own imagination, he'll take on different forms, and each transformation functions almost like a job class, again, like Final Fantasy V. Each form that Jimmy can transform into has its own stats, abilities, and field skills, and they all level up independently amongst themselves the longer that you stay in them. And as you level up these forms, you unlock abilities that can eventually be equipped across other transformations via the imagination menu. It's a really smart system, because it rewards commitment without locking you into it forever. If you do spend a lot of time in one form, you're not like wasting your progress there. Instead, you're building up a toolkit that you can use and carry forward. It's super flexible in just the same way that Final Fantasy V's job system was too. It's just kind of a shame that only Jimmy can really utilize it. Combat itself is more traditional turn-based JRPG fare, and I do mean that as a compliment because I love a good turn-based RPG. Enemies have visible HP bars, you'll be earning experience in gold, and the battles go super duper fast, which is always nice. But what elevates it above the rest is how transformations directly affect your approach. Turning into that revolting blob massively will boost up your defense and magic defense, but because you're a blob, you're kinda slow, so you have low agility. But you are a nice solid tank. Transforming into like a low-level goon does give you higher attack power and luck, but it also reduces your magical power. Even something as goofy as becoming a happy little sunflower does have its uses, boosting up your HP and MP gains per level and offering some strong healing skills. These aren't just novelty forms, they are meaningful, strategic choices. And then there's the level up bonuses that tie directly into the system. And it's one of my favorite mechanics in the game. It immediately reminded me of Final Fantasy VI and the Magicite system. Because depending on which transformation that you're using whenever you level up, you will gain specific stat bonuses. So if you level up as a blob, you'll get extra defense. Level up as a goon, you'll get more luck. If you level up as a sunflower, you'll get more HP and MP. So you can actually kind of switch your forms around as you gain levels to get those permanent stat boosts. It's really a lot of fun, and it's subtle and it adds depth, but it doesn't overwhelm you. Enemy encounters are random, but they're handled through a system similar to something like Wild Arms 3, which I was very happy to see. I loved the encounter system there. Whenever a random encounter occurs, a red exclamation point will pop up and then you're forced into combat. But if it's green, you can hit the B button and you can cancel the encounter entirely and just keep on moving. Or you can hit the A button and that will manually trigger the fight if you want to fight it. Combine that with 3 different difficulty modes that let you adjust the battle frequency and challenge, and the game does a great job respecting your time. You can grind if you want, or you can cruise if you want. The game doesn't punish you for either choice, because you might get half encounters, but you will get double experience and gold. Visually, the battles feature those trippy psychedelic backgrounds, straight out of Earthbound. But again, this isn't just an Earthbound clone. The tone gets noticeably darker as you progress, leaning into creepy nightmare imagery and emotional discomfort in a way that Earthbound only flirted with at the last moment. There's an undercurrent of unease here that feels really deliberate, especially once that dream logic starts to crack and Jimmy's subconscious starts to take the center stage. But we're not going to talk about that here. Let's talk about exploration, because that is another area where the game really shines. There's a world map connecting different areas, evoking memories of Earthbound's deep darkness, or the map in Chrono Trigger's overworld. But what's really smart is how the game handles revisiting those areas. Just like in Chrono Trigger, once you complete a location, you can then traverse through it freely on the world map without having to redo that dungeon. For example, early on, you have to pass through Cloudy Hill to reach the other regions, but once it's cleared, it becomes like a shortcut rather than an obstacle. And that single design choice eliminates so much backtracking and frustration. I love it. The dungeon design also has this neat atmospheric twist. While exploring, your field of vision is limited, similar to the original Dragon Warrior on the NES. However, whenever you are in those dungeons, candles and lanterns are scattered throughout, and as you approach them, your visible area expands. It's a small touch, but it reinforces that dreamlike mood while also making navigation more engaging. You're not just walking through corridors, you're pushing back the darkness. Then, remember how in Breath of Fire, whenever you wanted to go through the forests, you had to put spar or bow in the lead? There was different on-field abilities that they all had? It's the same thing here. And depending on which transformation that you're using for Jimmy, different things can happen and you can go different places. Whenever you're a blob, you can kind of go through grates. Or if you're a flower, you can kind of go underground and you can make other flowers grow, make vines grow. Or if you're a goon, you can shake the ever-loving shit out of somebody and make them move. Jimmy isn't just by himself though. Other party members do join up with him, and they're not just there to fill slots. You can equip manuals on them that will teach them special skills and abilities, meaning that their character growth isn't exclusively tied just to Jimmy's transformational system, and it keeps the party relevant and customizable, rather than just turning them into passive support units orbiting around Jimmy. Overall, I loved this game. It feels like a love letter to classic JRPGs that actually understands why all those games worked, instead of just kind of copying the surface level aesthetics like a lot of Earthbound clones end up doing. The transformation system, the narrative, the flexible difficulty options, and other quality of life features all came together to create something great, and it feels both nostalgic and fresh at the same time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more deep dives into really cool indie RPGs like this, then be sure to level up and join my party by subscribing. Drop a like and a hype, helps me out a ton, and as always, have a good day.